Okay, 10 spicy questions about differences in life in US, India, and Europe. Yes or no? Let's go. Number one, is life in India actually cheaper than in the US or Europe? 100% yes. Services in India are incredibly cheap. So even if you're a very regular working class person, you can afford to go out to a restaurant once or twice a week. Even you can afford to have drinks once or twice a week, and it's not going to break your budget, your monthly budget. That's not the case in US or Europe. Life in India is cheap, services are very cheap. You can have a whole bunch of things delivered to your house. You can go for a monthly facial or get your eyebrows plucked, and all of those things are not going to break your budget. And the currency has less value. 100% yes. Do Indian parents expect too much from kids living abroad? I don't know if they expect too much from kids living abroad. Indian parents and society expects a whole lot from its children, period, in general, because it's a collectivistic society, I think, my opinion, and because India used to be agrarian, agriculture based society. In these societies, traditionally children are looked at as investments. They aren't looked at as responsibilities. Yes, there is responsibility, but your primary role as a child is that you're an investment. Your parents brought you into this planet, so now you make sure that you take the family ahead. You maintain family's legacy and honor, and you help your family and your relatives make a jump, whichever tier you are in of society, financially, um, societally, culturally. You want to do everything as a child that you can, so that your life makes your family jump 2 tiers ahead. So after every single milestone you hit in life, there is another expectation, another milestone. If you have been a topper of your school in your high school, for instance, now you have to work very hard to get into the topmost engineering or medical college. Once you get into the engineering or medical college, you work super hard so you get hired by the topmost companies. Once you do that, once you're hired, now you have to find the best spouse possible, etc., etc. Then you need to have the best children possible in 2 years, and then your children need to go to the best school possible. So Indian society expects a lot from its children. Yes. Number three, is the West as fair and merit based as people in India believe? Uh, it is definitely less hierarchical than in India, but where there is society, there is it cannot be 100% fair. There is preferential treatment. There is people trying to support people who they know. There are in groups and out groups everywhere. Is it less hierarchical? And do you stand a better chance to fight if you have been subjected to something that you believe is unfair than you would in India? Yes. Less hierarchical in India, but obviously not 100% fair. Do you feel less judged living in the West compared to living in India? Yes, 100% yes. The kind of life that I'm living in India, I would be subjected to only judgment. And in the West, people don't care about me in particular because I am an expat, I am an immigrant, but also generally. So even if they do judge in their heads, it doesn't reach me. Yes, the answer is yes. Number five, is the work life balance really better in Europe? Yes, it is really better in Europe, although your experience is going to differ from company to company, and it's going to differ with the level of stress that your particular field has. I will give you an example. In the US, in my first job, I had a paid vacation of 7 days in 1 year. A paid vacation of 7 days in a year. Can you take more unpaid leave? Technically, you can, but you don't really want to do it. You don't want to bring a lot of attention. And I got 5 days in a year of medical leave. So I was allowed five, six sick days a year. In Europe, it is a practice in standard practice across most of Europe. You get a month of paid vacation in every job, and sick days are typically unlimited. But people, obviously, you regulate yourself rather than someone else telling you that you only get 5 sick days in a year. So yes, the work life balance is better here on an average. And in India also, it's not as hierarchical in Europe as it is in India. So if your boss doesn't leave until 8 p.m., you don't have to sit until 8 p.m. It is very normal for you to be done with your work day at 5:30 or 6 and then leave. In fact, if you stay in the office for longer, they have to compensate you. Companies cannot just make employees sit in the office for whichever time that pleases them without paying you. So, a lot of companies they discourage when you stay in longer unless you have a very strong reason, unless your supervisor has said yes, there is a task that needs to be done, and therefore this employee needs to stay longer and should be compensated. So, yeah, nobody expects you to show up and work overtime and not get paid. Um, Number six, do you miss Indian food more than anything else abroad? I do miss Indian food a lot. Indian food abroad is a sham. I'm really sorry to say this, but most Indian restaurants in abroad, 99% of them, they will keep rehashing the same two or three dishes. Butter chicken, chicken tikka masala. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And it's not even 2% of what a regular Indian eats in their day-to-day life. So it's very, very non-representative. And especially when you come to this part, when you come to Europe, they are very, very careful with spices. It's almost bland, almost bland. So very tough to get good Indian food abroad. I'm assuming parts of London could be an exception. And in New York, when I visited areas where a lot of Indian and Bangladeshi and Pakistani communities lived, like Long Island, Hicksville, etc., there you find some solid Indian food that is like Indian food, but everywhere else it's just a sham. Is racism abroad worse than judgment in India? Yes, for me, for a person who's living my life, yes. Not just judgment, but I'm assuming if I was in India, I would be living in one of the bigger cities: Mumbai, Delhi, Pune, Bangalore. A lot of those are extremely unsafe for women, and there is a certain kind of baseline aggression and baseline violence and baseline harassment that as a woman you know it's going to come to you every day when you enter a public space, when you go into a street. So you even stop questioning that. You don't question it. Your alarms only go off when it crosses a certain limit. Up until a certain limit, it's given, it's taken for granted that you're a woman in a public space. You will experience aggression, you will experience harassment and violence unless you manage to live a very sheltered and protected life, which I would not have done probably in India. And on top of it, there's judgment from relatives, there's judgment from everyone you know. So, a person living my kind of a life, it's a lot easier here. Have I faced racism abroad? I think I have. There have been cases few and far between. You go in a government office sometimes and they are unnecessarily rude to you, or you go to a very like high end restaurant and they are a bit rude to you because you look different than them, or you sometimes here in Europe can't speak their language as well. Those things happen, but they are not nearly as much of a part of your life as harassment or judgment in India would be. Again, for a person who lives like me, is my age, and looks like me, that's the case. But a person who looks very different or is living a very different life, racism here might be a bigger problem. It depends. Do you think Indian friendships are deeper than Western friendships? Now, this is very interesting for me. The answer in my experience is yes. And that doesn't necessarily mean that all Indian friendships are 100% healthy and functional and good. But India and other societies, again, because they are collectivist, the idea of what constitutes a family or a community is much larger than just you and your spouse and your children. But in Western countries, I don't care if they say that they are secular, the undertone is Christian. The founding principles are very like Christian, and the idea of what a family is also comes from that. So it's a very given thing that a family is you and your spouse and your children, and all the other people that you meet along the way in some ways are expendable and in some ways are temporary. So you also don't expect a lot of friends to maintain contact with you or to show up for you in ways that sometimes you might expect in India. And also they understand that you don't owe as much loyalty or as much consistency to someone who's not your spouse or not your children. So the idea of community is a lot shorter, is a lot smaller. What constitutes your community is a lot smaller in the Western world. And therefore, the idea of friendship, yes, as a rule, in general, there are always exceptions, but as a rule, friendships are more shallow. And the expectation from a friend to show up for you is a lot less. Is the American dream overrated? The accessibility of the American dream that is sold to people is false. You cannot simply come with nothing to the US, especially in a country like US where just survival takes so much money and you can build an empire out of nothing. Typically, if you show up in the US with nothing, it will take your entire life for you to build the foundation, and then perhaps your children can enjoy the American dream. But it takes at least one, if not two or three generations, or you are showing up in America in such a way that you already have a very solid financial base, from whichever country you are coming from. But you don't just show up with nothing and within your lifetime, within 5 years, within 10 years, you're able to become something. So American dream, is it a thing? I think it's a thing, and I'm not talking about what is happening in America right now. I think it is becoming redundant. The American dream is becoming redundant very fast. But overall, is it a thing? I think it used to be a thing, but it's not accessible to everyone, and it's not going to become your reality immediately like that. Uh, it takes like a couple of generations, and then your children or your grandchildren can enjoy that dream. Because everybody is looking at America, or historically they were. Things might change. So it is a thing, but it's not accessible to people the way it's sold to be. Even to the Americans, it's not accessible. I don't think. Would you ever settle permanently in Europe? I do not know. I don't know. I think if you have money, you can have a good life everywhere. And is Europe relatively safer? Current political climate, in some ways, I would say, but again, there's also a lot of political unrest and right wing assertion into mainstream politics in a lot of areas. So you don't know. I want to be international. Like, I want to have access to different places. I don't want to be bound to a place. But let's see. Thank you.